This episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast is brought to you in partnership with ministryleague.com. We would love for more people to discover this show, so please rate and review us on iTunes or your podcast provider. Feel free to share on your social media and subscribe at benandtravis.com for the free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living.
Welcome into the Helping Healing Humor podcast with Ben and Travis. Also, Will Myhan is with us. As always, I am super jazzercised. When's the last time you heard that? To be with my homies, the OG Ben Hayes. We've been running together for a long time. Will Myhan, who suffered through being in a cabin with Ben and Travis as his counselor, and he still wants to hang out with us, and vice versa. I'm just going to be honest. So we're here, and we want to talk a little bit about hopefully praying that as we approach summer, we're going to be coming out of what I like to call the COVID haze, pun completely intended. And we're opening back up in a lot of areas. But, it's been difficult. It's been hard, and especially even maybe more so with the opening up of everything, because there's so much stuff out there. There's so many people saying this or that. And then for our youth ministers and ministers in general, you've got the church down the street is never stopped meeting. You got the church, right a few miles past that closed down and still haven't come back. And then you've got some who've come back and are starting to go events, and maybe one church has been going to events for 6 months. And so it's really difficult to not feel the pressure to get in the mix. But then also, there's been a tremendous amount of creativity as well. And so we just want to take a few minutes on this podcast to kind of discuss that as we have Will, the youth ministry expert, with us to talk about his experience. And once again, it's his experience. This is not us judging people. I've been very impressed with the autonomy that people have shown, and people have to make decisions based on, the dynamics that are in their church. So, but before we do that, Ben, you doing okay?
I am doing great, man. It is just wonderful to be able to hang out with you guys always. It seems like it's been a little while that we've been able to all be together, and so it is a thrill to have Will with us again. And so, how you doing, Will?
And I'm doing really, really well. Today, as we're recording this, is A-Day game for Alabama. So I got to watch some of that, feel confident about old Coach Saban and the future. So I've just had a really, really good day, and things are going well on the home front here.
I really wished I'd have watched that. I'd kind of forgotten about it, and I caught the Braves game as they got slaughtered by the Cubs today. So I'm
just telling you, we've got a stud wide receiver that is coming through the ranks.
Sweet.
And he played with the second team and dominated the first team defense. Well, it's going to be pretty
What's
impressive.
amazing, two things on that. Alabama basketball team did so well that we almost completely forgot about football. That's amazing in itself. And then second of all, I'm at a board meeting earlier today. I get the notification that the Braves are playing the Cubs, which as a Cardinals fan, come on, Braves. You got to beat the Cubs now.
They did.
But the notification says the Braves pitcher is bringing in an ERA of less than 1, and the Cubs offense is struggling. The next notification I got, Cubs like 13, the Braves 4. And I was like, well, they solved all the problems today, I guess. But anyways, I guess the first thing I would say leading into it is this is not a judgment on anybody else and their decisions. We all have to make our own decisions, but I just can't imagine, being such an activity-driven group of people that want to be out and about and having to go through all of that. And now that we've got a little perspective, there's something, you guys like to talk about as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I think it's been tough. And I know, of course, in my house, it's like minister and teacher. Which we've involved in people's lives, trying to be hands-on, help where we can to go remotely to, hey, just help people through a phone screen or help people through a Zoom call. And it's like, some people don't even want to get on a Zoom call. So, I mean, how do you check in, different things like that? And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's been extremely tough. And I would never look at my life and go, well, I've had it worse than somebody else, by any means. But I think as a whole, it feels good to be able to go and spend time with people. Now, for us, it's our eldership at Highland Park, and even, Lindsay, we've tried to still do things, in safe ways. We held Bible studies at our house, in the garage and in the front yard, and, tried to spread out as much as we could, because there were times where Lindsay would go, it's just killing you, isn't it? Like, yes, the Enneagram 7 in me is just going nuts, to just like, go ride a bike with somebody. I mean, it was amazing how many kids in our youth group bought bikes, when they could find one. And we had a group. I remember one day I was riding around with 12 youth group kids on bicycles. It's like, I never thought my ministry would end up, that way. Yeah. And then even, I know it's, shameless plug here, but even the running stuff, here was 5 or 6 guys that I was constantly calling every day. And we even had some girls that said, well, hey, we went and walked this much. We're not running with y'all, but y'all got your running group. We're going to go walk, and we're going to do, just encourage each other. And so, I mean, it's been wild, and it's been crazy, but it's been good too. I think there's been a lot of lessons that we've learned, through all of this as well.
Yeah, and working with Will, I mean, I can honestly say he tried really hard to make sure there was always stuff going on. And I know a lot of other ministers that I talked to that called, struggling with things, and we talked about what we're doing and what they're doing, and, tried to encourage each other. But, I know, there for a little while we were meeting in small groups in the parking lot, under the pavilion at the church, and sometimes in the building when necessary or when we could. The youth group is what I'm talking about. And so, I know Will was trying really hard, and I know a lot of these other guys all over the states that I talked to at different times, same thing. But it's really kind of was a difficult thing. So what has it been like, Will, coming back, because a lot of places are sort of coming back, I won't say online because we were online before, but, coming back to doing somewhat normal things, like you guys went to the rock climbing place this week, and you've done some other things. What's that like? What is it maybe done for you in your ministry, kind of having experienced and gone through all that last year?
Yeah, I think the one thing is you're a whole lot more intentional, with the time that you get to spend with people. Just understanding that, heaven forbid the numbers go back up or the vaccines don't work or anything like that. But it's like, it just feels good. And I think this has been the struggle for me, is I've grown up in the church my entire life. I've always had the church. And I can honestly say I don't think I appreciated the church enough, because when you've gone without it, I look at our summer calendar and it looks crazy, with how much stuff we've got to do. But it's like, I'm just dying to go do those things, because I realized how much of my ministry is just the human connection. Hey, I just want to spend time with people. I want to grow closer to people. And so I think that's been a huge part. Like last night, the majority of our older kids, a lot of them have had COVID or they've gotten the vaccine, and it just felt normal. One of our girls said, it just feels good to see like people outside of, just the people I know. Like we were in a public space with other people who we were talking to and getting to know. And she was like, I've just been longing for this, and I found it interesting that you've got teenagers that are almost going, hey, I want to disconnect from the tech side of the world and engage in some relational things. And to me, that's a huge blessing for the church. Is you've got young people that, everybody wants to look at it and go, oh, they're terrible. My generation was so much better. And I know every generation does it. But I mean, like our group, man, they've gotten so much closer, and they want to be together. I think the other thing for me that's different is still respecting the boundaries of other people. It's like, well, I've got my vaccine, but there's still some families that are going, hey, we're still not comfortable, and so it's, even though I'm comfortable, the majority of the people I'm around are comfortable. My family, my parents' congregation, they never stopped going, and so it's like you've got those extremes, but there's still people that are struggling through COVID, and we've still got people in our community that we love that are still on ventilators because of it and different things. And so it's not that, I'm just, it's free for all, everything's perfect and fine, but it's understanding and trying to respect the ideas of other people. Because, I think it's going to be pretty ongoing, hopefully, and when it gets winter, hey, everything will still be fine. But I know some people are already talking about, hey, I'm not going to get back out during the winter, just because of all this stuff going on. And so, it's just helped me try to look at the viewpoints of other people a whole lot more, because I don't understand, I'm not walking in someone else's shoes, so I can't judge that. And so as things open up, it's just trying to be more loving, more gracious, because I can always work in that, a whole lot more.
So I've been blown away by the creativity. Obviously I'm still to some degree in youth ministry. I'm a campus minister, but the creativity of the youth ministers that I know in figuring something out to have that connectivity and being able to work within the parameters, whatever they are, and I mentioned that there's some churches, like you mentioned, your parents never stopped going. And then there's some who've been shut down. And once again, that's the beauty of that autonomy to a large degree, but then the creativity of people within the parameters, and hopefully we're helping with that with our youth group challenge. But, that's been something that's been impressive. And I've seen a lot of what you're talking about where kids are like, we cannot wait to be around each other. Even that kid that was annoying, which would have worked out for me in the 90s. That'd have been awesome. We don't care if it's Travis. We just need to be around somebody. So that's been cool to see.
I mean, it's just been, it's been, to me, it's been a refresher to youth ministry. It's like you've got just a lot of kids that go, hey, I don't want to stay home with my parents anymore. I've been locked up with them for a year. And it's like, I'm grasping at that, like, hey, the iron's hot. Let's go. We got a lot of stuff that we can be doing, that we can be participating in. And if you weren't out of the house, come on, because we're going to do what we can to meet your needs. And to me, it's hopefully the church as a whole, whether it's youth ministry, preachers, whatever, hopefully we're all taking advantage of that. Because I think a lot of people are just sick of being indoors, and wanting to get out.
Yeah. And as a minister, it's just been so great to see more and more people kind of who've gotten the shots or whatever else, coming in, and they are feeling comfortable again, and getting to see those faces. And literally getting to see people's faces is a big deal. Like, I had a lady come through Carline the other day at Mars Hill, and she was like, "Oh, that's what you look like," because we had finally, decided we wouldn't have. I'm glad she didn't go, "Oh, that's what you look like. Put your mask back on." But we finally had Carline duty without the mask on, and and I kind of take for granted because, like, oh yeah, that was a new student. So all year, all they've ever seen of me is a mask over my face. So literally didn't know what I looked like. And, so it's just been great to see people's smiles, to just see people who we haven't seen other than on a camera, maybe a time or two, or through their front door, or, at a distance in some way. And so I think that's just been encouraging, and really encouraging to see how much the kids just want to be together. And I love that. And I think the adults too. That's not just a kid thing.
We've been hosting Wednesday night at our house, Bible study and fellowship meal. And this past week we had an older couple that came, and they've not been able to come to church, mainly because the wife works at a nursing home. And so they've been limiting how much she could go. And I saw them pull up in the driveway, man. And it was like, I'm holding back tears. It's like, oh man, I hadn't seen them in forever. It's so awesome. And she'd been messaging me like, how can I get your sermons from Sunday morning? And, I am not be able to be there. Can I get them? And so to see them, that was just, that was an awesome thing to experience. It was just kind of that overwhelming type deal. But, like I said, I mentioned the creativity, and to me, like, this is probably not a great illustration, but, I've got my little Batman here with me, and he's got his little utility belt. And that's kind of like, to me, that's like the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is like the utility belt. And so you see all this inspiration, if I can use that term probably pretty loosely there, lowercase I, inspiration, in these youth ministers and elders in creativity of getting the message out there and being able to connect. There's tons of podcasts out there. We were doing podcasts, but I think the COVID break kind of helped us go, okay, let's amp it up. Let's be more serious about it, and let's do it to the best that we can, because we knew there were a lot of people out there hurting and needed some level of connection. And so we hope that that's it. We do a lot of other things, the 5Ks, the goofy little giveaways, the emails and stuff like that. But, we do all that to help people with St. Jude or whatever they're going through. And so, if you're out there and you're wondering, how could I help someone, maybe pass along this episode or another episode of the podcast, or pass along our website. There are little fun things that we do, but we also, number one, first and foremost, don't want to do any harm, but then we also want to help, heal, and have some humor too.
I would love to see people's comments about kind of how they did during this. Not, again, this is about everybody has that autonomy, can do things as a church the way that they felt like was necessary. But what were some creative things that you did? What are some things you're looking forward to about this summer? I know I'm already looking forward to a full week, I hope, of Maywood, a regular full week of Maywood, I hope. Fingers crossed. But, like what are the things that you miss the most? What are the things that you're most excited about? In the comments of the YouTube or comments on Facebook, share those with us, because I'd be interested to see them.
Yeah, and we want to steal your ideas.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's even more so.
You're talking about creativity. We bought Amy a trampoline for outside so that she can kind of grow into that. And so I got to thinking, well, this is perfect youth group activity. So I called 2 or 3 of the youth group members over to help me put it together. And by the end of the night, we had 20 kids playing spike ball in the street in front of the house. And it was just like, it was amazing to me, the outreach opportunity that the church has right now, to take advantage of. There are so many churches that are still shut down. There are so many families that are still hurting to go, man, we have a huge opportunity not to miss right now, for outreach and to pull people in and go, look, we love you and we want to meet your needs. And so I hope, and that's not just a minister thing. That's a Christian thing. I want to help the person beside me. And so I hope we don't miss that opportunity that's right there in front of us.
Titus 3:14, our people must engage in good deeds to meet pressing needs so that they will not be unfruitful. It's a big deal.
It was crazy. We put the trampoline together. Several of us were jumping on that. We kind of probably took over Amy's trampoline. But then by the end of the night, it's like our students were going, hey, there's a bunch of people down here. Come on to this guy's house. They didn't know who Lindsay and I were. But then you get to start making relationships because people just want to be together. And It's just really cool.
So what we want you to do is comment below. If you're on YouTube or Facebook and you're watching this video, give us the best thing. Give us the best thing. We all talk about how things could be better and we wish this or that. That's not a place here for that. You can do that on your own time. Do not grumble or complain. Can we get that direct command? Let's just be shining lights.
Shiny.
Yeah. And but we want the best thing. What's the best thing your church has done, your ministry has done during all this? And then I want you to be proactive. And I want you to write your leadership. Tell them what the best thing they've done. What's the best thing? What's something that's impressed you? How have you been encouraged by them? And let them know, because I know for a fact they hear all the negative, right? And sometimes that's a fault of a minister. We hear the negative and really don't ever allow ourselves to see the positive. But kind of force them to do that. Send them a letter, write them a note, send them an email, and go, hey, I know you've been stressed. I know there's a lot of things going on, but here's 1, 2, 3 concrete things that I've seen that have really encouraged me during this, and I know they'll appreciate it. So I'm certainly thankful for everyone using their utility belt. So
for every bit of pressure and stress that you have been under, just from being in ministers, elders, ministers meetings, they have been under just as much or more. It's been a tough thing for our elders and leadership in churches to really, try to just get through this journey, to figure it out. And it was something that they hadn't done before. So just showing grace and love and encouragement to them right now, I know would be huge as we hopefully begin to emerge out of our deep, dark cave of COVID and be able to, get some normalcy back.
So as we wrap up our time together, I'm going to just throw out some question that you guys are completely unprepared for. So you ready for this? Just for funsies. So, I don't know what y'all's favorite season is. I'm going to say that mine is the fall, football coach, whatever. But what is your favorite aspect of spring? It could be a sporting event. It could be it could be a smell. It could be a food. It could be anything. What would be your favorite aspect, I guess, thing? Probably it's kind of a redneck way of saying it, but what's your favorite aspect of spring?
Will?
I would probably say, and I'm terrible at this and will never be any good, but I enjoy spring rolling around and getting back on the golf course. Because I hate to play golf in the summer because it's so hot. And I don't play a lot of golf in the fall because of football season and different things like that. So spring kind of allows me that time. And I really enjoy the Masters, just watching that. And I know once I can get out and play a little bit of golf, that usually means the tide's kind of turning and you have 8-day games. All that's kicking off like today. Shout out Bryce Young for a great game. So, I kind of like getting out on the golf course and just kind of enjoying the freshness of kind of a new year to me.
Dan?
I like shooting fish. This weekend, I got to. The spring usually means that bow fishing season is upon us, and it starts it off. We may do this till the fall, usually do, but this is when it starts, and so that's probably my favorite aspect. And it's not really the shooting fish; it's the hanging out with the people that I get to go with. Kind of a ministry thing. Sometimes it's therapy for me. It is therapy. This weekend got to go with Lonnie Jones and Daryl Pickle and Justin May, and my son Jackson got to join us, and Carrie. So we had a good evening of bow fishing, and missed a couple of our usual guys. Reed Swindle and Kyle Butt didn't get to join us, but that's always the fun kick off the year, and just a lot of fellowship and encouragement from those guys, and knowing that I'm going to get to do that a few more times. So that's probably my favorite part of the spring.
I'm going to roll with just crispness, and I guess you could say that to some degree in the fall as well. But man, you get up in the morning, it's a little cool, but it's going to warm up. You got to prepare. That's also kind of a downfall. You don't know if I need long sleeves or. That's why they created shirts like the one Ben's wearing, the T-shirt, hoodie. It's perfect. It also has our logo on it, which means it's double perfect, helping healing humor. But I like that crispness. You get that coffee.
Yeah, I like it
like,
too. Man,
it's going to be a great day. And, it's just phenomenal stuff. But
you want to talk about crispness, get on a boat. This past weekend, man, it was not crisp. It felt like a hunting day in the middle of the winter when you're riding on those waves at about 3:00 in the morning with the wind blowing in your face. It was very crisp. I could have used a hot cup of coffee.
Crisp doesn't do anything for me because I guess you got to get up before 9 to make that happen.
That's true. It's
some
already
people are living the dream, and the rest of us are just living in their world. And Will is living the dream, and we're just in his world, man.
That's right.
In his world. Well, guys, I appreciate your time and appreciate always getting to hang out with you. That is one thing I can say about COVID is we have got to hang out on the interwebs a lot more, and that's certainly been a positive for me, at least. Everybody out there may be like, ugh. But hopefully you've subscribed.
Turn it off.
You're in our group. You've signed up at benandtravis.com, and you just can't get enough of us. And if you can't get enough of us, there's stickers and T-shirts. There's T-shirts with our faces. Well, it's got my face on it.
That's good. I'm glad it doesn't have mine.
Attractiveness. But anyways, guys, I appreciate it. You're awesome, and we'll talk at you next time.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.